courses are available in this section on the Greater Exodus. What is Biblical Zion? And Principles of the Greater Exodus. Let us begin with the course, What is Biblical Zion? When we study Torah, we should think in terms of definitions and principles. Thus, we begin our study into this subject with learning about a key definition. What is Biblical Zion? In this course, we will be studying the following themes. Unlocking Torah treasure through definitions. To get to the very heart of Torah, to get to the hidden treasure, we must study it from a Hebrew mindset. We must learn Torah principles and definitions. The Torah is in code. Yeshua taught in parables. We must unlock and unseal the code. Zion is a term for the people of the God of Israel. Zion is also a term for the land of Israel itself. We are told that the Torah will go forth from Zion. Zion is a term for the fulfillment of the covenant that Yahweh made with Abraham. Zion is also a term for the end of the exile of the house of Jacob, which includes all 12 tribes. Zion is also a term for the Messianic era. And finally, Zion is a term for Yeshua having redeemed his people, and he now dwells with them. So, what is the building up of Zion? When the Lord builds up Zion, he will appear in his glory. What is the building up of Zion? Biblical Zion is Yeshua ruling and reigning from Mount Zion in Jerusalem over all 12 tribes of Israel, who are now living in the land of Israel, and he will be teaching them his Torah from Mount Zion. Isaiah 2, verses 2 and 3. In our journey to Zion, we come under a new covenant and we receive a new heart. Mount Zion is where Yeshua will dwell with his people. He wants to be married to his people. But in this journey to Zion, first, he must give us a new heart. In Jeremiah 31, verse 31 to 33, it is written, Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband to them, says Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, says Yahweh, I will put my Torah in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. Another important theme is this: secular Zion precedes biblical Zion. The current nation of Israel represents secular Zion. Secular Zion is a return by the Jewish people to the land of Israel without a circumcised heart. Without a circumcised heart means that the Jewish people in the land of Israel don't believe that Yeshua is the Messiah, and thus they are not following Yeshua's Torah. Remember, it was Yeshua who gave the Torah at Mount Sinai. So if you are not following Yeshua, then you are not following his Torah. How will the biblical Zion nation emerge and be born? The controversy of Zion triggers the birth of biblical Zion. The way that biblical Zion will be born is through the controversy of Zion. Presently, the nations of the world do not recognize the covenant that Yeshua made with Abraham and his seed to give him a land and a people. As a result, they will seek to divide the land of Israel and recognize a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. This will trigger the birth of biblical Zion. The next course in this subject is Principles of the Greater Exodus. This course reveals to us how the events in Genesis and Exodus foreshadow the greater exodus of the nation of Israel in the end of days. The Torah is given to us so we can learn and understand from the lives of the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and Moses. How this is so. Here is a key Torah principle. Biblical history is prophecy. In other words, the events that happened to our forefathers are foreshadows. They are a prophetic template for us, their descendants. Here is another way to think about it. The ancient events that have been played out in Bible history will play out again in our time. The actors may change, but the script remains the same. And Yeshua is the hidden, unseen director behind it all. When Israel broke the covenant made at Mount Sinai, they were sent into exile by the God of Israel. The events that happened to Adam and Eve, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they all foreshadow and prophesy to the exile of the nation of Israel into the nations of the world. These events also foreshadow and prophesy to Israel's redemption through Yeshua, the Messiah. The historical conflict between Jacob and Esau foreshadows the events of the tribulation, or Jacob's trouble. Joseph's separation from his brothers foreshadowed the split of the house of Jacob into northern kingdom and southern kingdom, and their eventual reunification. The judgments upon Egypt foreshadow the judgments that come upon the nations during the tribulation period. The events of the historical Egyptian exodus foreshadow the tribulation, the judgment of the nations, and the redemption of Ephraim, or northern kingdom, and Judah, or southern kingdom. The exiles of Israel will ultimately be gathered back to the land of Israel. In Isaiah chapter 4, verses 4 to 6, it is written, "When the Lord has washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and purged the blood of Jerusalem from her midst, by the spirit of judgment, and by the spirit of burning, then Yahweh will create above every dwelling place of Mount Zion, and above her assemblies, a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For over all the glory there will be a covering. There will be a tabernacle for shade in the daytime from the heat, for a place of refuge, and for a shelter from storm and rain." They will be united in Messiah Yeshua and be under his rulership during the Messianic era. Take this course, and you will learn about the patterns of the exile of our forefathers and the pattern of the ingathering of the exiles known as the Greater Exodus. Learn the ancient script so that you will understand how that script is going to play out again in the end of days. What is your role to play when the ancient script for the Exodus rolls out and plays again? Take this course to find out.